This is Black Woman CEO. Welcome to the only podcast dedicated to giving you the raw and real experiences of successful Black women entrepreneurs. Yes, girl, we're talking about the behind the scenes strategies of what it takes to increase in your profit, power, and purpose. I am your host, Quanisha Green, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Hey there. This is Quanisha Green, founder of Black Woman CEO. So excited to come to you with part 3 of our Get Known series, how to get known and get paid for your expertise. Over the past, month now, a little less than a month, we've been covering how to get known and get paid for your expertise. Earlier in the series, the Get Known series, if you're in the group, you want to go to units and you can catch the replays there. We've talked about, some of the common mistakes that we can make as entrepreneurs. Particularly, I talked to our particular walk as Black women to getting known and getting paid. In part 2, I went heavily into the 4 ways that you can profit from your gifts, your knowledge, and expertise. And it was interesting because this week someone wrote in the group, what are some businesses where she can get a high rate of return? And I encouraged her to watch the series because one of the things that we covered in the 4 ways is really how to profit from your gifts, your knowledge, and your expertise. And it's very low overhead. And yes, there's some how-to to it because you want to make sure, obviously, people have to pay you to make money. And you want to make sure you have an offer. Some of you have been in our community for a while when we've done the Meant for More workshop and we talk about the 5 must-haves that you need to have to find clients now. So there's some how-to to this. But I've shared that I have generated 5K plus and within 30 days and multiple months, and of course, multiple 6 figures in my business by just sharing what I know. One of my gifts is coaching. If you don't know me, my name is Quanisha Green. Let me just do that. I'm the founder and CEO of Black Woman CEO, and I'm known as the Confidence Strategist for Black women entrepreneurs, really helping you experience experts and highly talented Black women to elevate your confidence and also elevate, or at least say emancipate, your earning power. And if you don't know, one of the reasons why this is important before I go into how I've generated multiple, which one of those 4 ways to get paid have been really beneficial for me. And going back to the story I started, Black Woman CEO, we turned 5 and we've been doing this work that was based on my passion for Black women, but particularly what the research says about our current status when it comes to Black women-owned business and, Black women business ownership, particularly here in the United States. So on average, as of the last report from 2019, the State of Women-Owned Business report, the State of Women-Owned Business report that was commissioned by American Express, it showed that Black women-owned businesses generated only $24,000 a year on average, as average gross revenues. Now, relative, you may be like, okay, so if you rank that by gender and if you rank average gross revenues by race, Black women, we're at the bottom. So by both race and gender, we're in the bottom tier. As far as women-owned businesses, the ones that are right above us are Latino women-owned businesses, and it's $56,000 a year. That's about their average gross revenues. So you're here because you're meant for so much more. You want to get paid for what you do, get paid. You want to live life on your own terms. Go ahead, live on my own terms in the chat. You want to own your time, own your time in the chat, or you want to leave a legacy. And that legacy can include you having financial freedom. And then whether it's your own family or the community that you feel dedicated to, you want to be able to contribute. So we have a lot of mission-oriented Black women. So if you relate to all of that, put all of it. So this is what I know about the highly educated, or I would say my educated Black ladies that come here at Black Woman CEO. So as you can see, it's so important that we learn these skills, not just about business ownership, but the particular walk that we have as Black women. There's a lot of things that impact who we are. And we're not a monolith. As we know, we're highly diverse. So when I talk about us from the group, I'm talking about us from a research perspective. So I have a master's in social work. My thesis was studying Black womanhood, how we form our identity, and particularly our challenges and gifts when it comes to leadership. There's a lot of things that influences, one, how we show up in the world, and then how those things translate over to business. And I have, some of you may know, my CEO sisters who are here, I have whole trainings on that. I share that, so I won't go deeply into that today. But I hope that if you're new to our community, you can trust me that historical, cultural, the way that we're socialized, and even our own lived experiences can influence how we show up in business. You ever feel like the imposter syndrome comes up, or you wonder if someone will pay you at all for what you do, or that much, whatever that much is for you, for your expertise. Let's say when you hear people making those 5-figure months and, generating $6K in their businesses, do you wonder like, oh, even $1 million, like, can I have that? Can I do that? And the thing is that you can generate revenue from your gifts and what you know. So that's why I was sharing early on that, when the question was asked in our Black Woman CEO, I like to call it our sanctuary, our circle, what businesses will allow you a high rate on return? It's your knowledge. You don't have to go create a widget, physical product, or an invention. You can literally share your story. You can literally share what you know. You can mentor, you can coach, you can consult, just based on your knowledge and experience, and get paid well for it. So that's a high rate of return, because initially, of course, we paid for our education. We've paid for our credentials and our training. Some of you have written books. So yes, that time or money or both, you can say is an investment in your knowledge, but it's an extremely low overhead. So what I was saying is that you can literally get on video. You can literally share a podcast episode. You can literally write and make money from what you do. Some of this is just knowing the strategy behind this so you get paid well for it. And that actually takes me to my number one tip today when we talk about how to increase your value and visibility. The number one, I'm going to share three, almost like, I want to say 3 steps, but they don't have to necessarily be in sequential order, but it's 3 things that you want to do in order to increase your value and visibility. And you can start doing these things within 30 days. And I'll share a client story, someone who came to me, started doing this and doing some tweaks, and she attracted 4 clients within 30 days working with me. Even just in the time of us doing this recording, we're in the coronavirus. And I've had clients as well as myself generate 4-figure plus, selling 4-figure high ticket offers, who have gotten clients. Like our client attorney, Roberta, she launched her first offer. And within 3 weeks, she generated close to $5,000 from about 3 to 4 clients. She sold her first $1,000 product before she was selling her knowledge for initially $16, and she went to $300. I'm like, what you do is worth so much more than that. And then she raised it to $1,500. And then she just sold a $2,000 off, all while we are going in this, you can say, epidemic and all these different things like that. So it's really around having the skills and knowing what to set up in your business so that you are able to get known and get paid. But this starts with this really first step, which is actually, I'm mirroring it right now. And I want you all to write these steps so that, one, you're taking notes for yourself, but then also it'll help other people in the comments. The first thing that you want to do to elevate your value and visibility, and also do this pretty consistently, we talked about consistency in the first video as being important, is that you want to share. You want to share what you know. And that is essentially establishing your thought leadership. You have a unique expertise. You have a unique expertise. And I want you to put expertise in the comment. And you have thought leadership. You have formed your own ideas. You have formed your own processes for how to solve a problem or how to address a problem regarding a specific issue, and for probably even a specific person if you developed your business that far. So put thought leadership. And part of you sharing that is how you give value. And sometimes we don't share because, once again, that imposter syndrome can come up, where you're thinking, who am I? Who am I to do this? Who am I to share what I think about XYZ? There are more people who know more than I do. What is your idea of an expert? When you think about an expert, what comes to mind? What is the image? Even if you think of like what an expert looks like. When I've done this exercise in the past, someone will think, oh, white man with gray hair. Some people will be like, oh, Oprah or Beyonce. When they think about, or more Oprah, they have someone like, kind of like when we think of gifted, you may think of Beyonce, like her talent, but we think of someone who has years of experience. Like one time I had a doctor said, oh, an expert is someone who has 25 years of experience. And when I really started tuning into this expert piece, I was at a workshop called to change the world. And I was in a room with national executive directors. I was in rooms with other Ivy League educated women. I was in the room with people who were leading like social justice movements. And when the facilitator asked to share your expertise, or do you consider yourself, or what an expert is, all these women had all these pushback to it. They thought about these patriarchal images, or they were like, I don't know anything. I'm not an expert. And sometimes we think like, oh, in the grand scheme, like I can't win a Nobel Peace Prize. There was so much pushback to it that they didn't claim their expertise. And then I went and wrote a piece for Harriet, right, on how to make your voice heard. And I was encouraging Black women. I shared this story and to claim their expertise. And in the chat, so many women who were highly educated and all these things said like, I don't have an expertise. And it was like, wait, but you've been like a manager for this company for 30 years. And they were seeing people who they felt was less qualified than them getting promotions and going for promotions, knowing that that person had like a percentage of the qualifications. So sometimes some of us can have real challenges around this whole, what is an expert? But you have an expertise. So sometimes think about what you think an expert is. And you're like, oh, someone who has 20 to 25 years. Jamie said, knows what they're talking about. Maisha said an expert. Bernarda said, my idea of an expert is someone who has X number of years. So one, we can put these qualifiers on it. But if you do the math, some of you actually will meet your own qualification. So that particular doctor, when she said, oh, someone who has 25 years of expertise, and she was like, I don't see myself as an expert. That was even how she pre-qualified that. And then I said, well, how long have you been, because she was focused on clean eating and green eating. I was like, well, how long have you been focusing on this and implementing it and studying this? And she was like, oh, 25 years. And I was like, hello. So by your own definition, you're an expert, right? So sometimes we have to see it for ourselves. Jamie just said, knows what they're talking about. Jamie knows what she's talking about. I know because she's my client. So sometimes you may be like, I'm not an expert, but then when you look at these definitions and you look at who you are and you remember who you be, they match. One way that you can, once again, get known and increase your visibility within as little as 30 days is to share that expertise. And don't think about you having to have all the knowledge. Think about it as you're entering a conversation. So if you were at a networking event and a group of people were talking about, say, whatever it is in your niche. So like Maisha, she talks about single motherhood and helping them to find their purpose and partners and tap into their passions. Now, we were sitting around a table, say with 10 other people, and I'm there, you will probably know way more about single motherhood than everybody else. Or if you were at a networking event and people were talking about, oh, single motherhood and empowerment and how we can take charge of our lives, you will probably have something to say. Once again, think about that in your niche. You would have something to say. So when you write an article, when you go on video, when you maybe, interview on a podcast, you are just entering a conversation, sharing your point of view, sharing your paradigm and your thoughts around this, or the conclusions that you have made based on your professional experiences, your lived experiences around a topic. And what you have to say is just as valuable as what anyone else has to say on the topic. And that is of value to other folks. So when I say to share value, it really is, how are you sharing your thoughts on a topic for public consumption? Only does that increase your value because now you are actually getting out there for what you do. And, in this day and age, you may be like, Quanisha, there's tons of people doing video. There's people who've written books about this. But in the grand scheme of the whole population, that's really only a small percentage of people. And then particularly Black women, we are underrepresented in public discourse. So the fact that you are standing up, the fact that you are doing that, the fact that you put that article on LinkedIn or Medium, or that you wrote a blog post, the fact that you sit down and organize your thoughts, the fact that you even got on video is showing your leadership because so many other people are too afraid to do that. So that elevates you above the rest. You could literally get on video tomorrow and that would increase your standing in the public. Just simply sharing what you know. All right, you all say see that. So the first thing that you can do to increase your value and your visibility is to share what you know in the public domain. So that's the first thing, share. So what do you all think about that? Put share what I know. If that's something that you like, I can do that. The second thing that you can do within the next 30 days to increase your value and visibility is to pitch. And another way to think about this, a reframe of that, is to ask. And that is saying that you want people to come to you and seek you out for your services. I want you to kind of shift this. Like, you can definitely be sought after. People send me invitations all the time. But I want you to start to stand in your power and understand that part of your role is in a CEO. There's twofold, two of your primary roles. And this is something I learned very early on from Dr. Monica Orgando. Her business is CEO Mastery, and she's done awesome things. You can listen to her. She's like literally the keynote for our podcast when we kicked it off. And she was my mentor on Mastering My CEO. And one thing she taught me is that two of the primary roles of a CEO is to drive your vision and drive revenue. So you hear drive, you're in charge, you're behind the wheel. So though we want to be sought after, and guess what? Our visibility, sharing will help us to do that, to get known and where people will reach out to us. You want to also stand in your power by asking for what you desire. You taking charge by asking for what you want, by pitching yourself, asking folks, hey, I would love to come onto your podcast. I would love to be considered as a speaker. Are you accepting speakers? Are you accepting guest lecturers? Are you accepting contributions? Or someone comes to you and they're like, oh, we'd like you to do this. Ask for what you want. You want to get paid. Hey, what is the budget for that? Oh, what is the speaker compensation? Oh, would you cover if you're not giving honorariums, will you cover my travel expenses? I don't care if it's even to pay for you to take a Lyft to the location. Part of this increasing your value and visibility is you asking for what you want and standing in your power and taking control of your life and business. That is essentially how you begin to get paid, and also how you can increase getting seen. Because maybe you're pitching, like I said, to do an op-ed. You're pitching your thoughts. Maybe you're pitching traditional media to come on, your local station and say, hey, I have some thoughts on this, or I have a book. I would like to share this with your audience, or here's how your audience can benefit. If you are talking to a friend or colleague and you can help them, the pitch may be, hey, Sarah, you were talking about how you need help with communicating with your spouse. I do that and I can formally support you in that. Or I don't mind listening as a friend, but if you really want to move forward, I can formally support you in doing this. Would you like to explore it? And this is not chasing. But it's you standing your value saying, I can help you with this. Or if you want me to come and talk to your audience, I got to get paid. And we are teaching people through pitching or asking how to perceive us. And particularly when it comes to your own network, both personal and professional, how for them to start changing their image of you and seeing you as an expert. So once again, you can be seeking out opportunities because that's you driving the revenue, seeking opportunities, asking to get paid for what you do, making it known. It's like, what's your budget? That's a great question to ask. What is your budget for that? So I used to get asked all the time to come do panels and speak and train on what the work that we're doing. And when I started saying, what is your budget for that? People were like, oh, Quanisha wants to get paid. And they're like, oh, well, we can cover your travel. Actually, we can pay you $1,500 for this keynote. We wanted you to come speak, because it's showing them that you value yourself. So ask the question or pitch an idea. So that's you taking charge. And that, once again, helps to increase your value in the marketplace. Because now people are knowing you as a speaker. Now I've trained my network so well that they know not to come to me unless there's some money around it. Like, hey, if you want Quanisha to come, you got to make sure. They're like, hey, what are your speaker fees? Send it to me. And if they can't do that, we go into negotiation. Like, hey, we can't do that, but this is what we have in the budget. Would you be willing to do this? But once again, that puts me in a power stance when I can decide, oh, I would take that honorarium. Or it's like, oh, well, for the level of things you want, that's not going to work. And I've had people go and say, okay, let me come back to you. Let me work something out. And they've gone to other departments to raise money for my speaker fee. So put standing your power if you get that. So you're elevating your value once again. And then, of course, by pitching, you are elevating your visibility, because now you're pitching yourself to get in front of new audiences, to get in front of, or to be featured on certain stages or interviewed on a podcast. So you don't always have to wait, and you actually shouldn't wait for someone to come to you. So you don't need permission to share your value. And that's kind of like the share part is establishing your own platform. Then the pitching and asking part is you looking to get on other people's platforms and leveraging that platform to help build your platform. And then also this starts to help people shift to see you as someone who, if you want access to her, if you want my knowledge, if you want to pick my brain, because once again, even people who are reaching out to you, like, oh, can I ask you a question? You can ask. I was like, yeah, you can ask me. And my ask is that you go here to schedule a paid consultation with me if you want me to answer this question. So this is about setting boundaries, setting standards, but also you driving the conversation, you driving how people think about you, and then ultimately you driving the revenue that comes into your business. So that's the second thing. So one was share your value. Two is actually pitch, you actually getting out there and driving your visibility. And then number three was actually pricing, demand, and asking. So starting to price your work, really thinking about what is the value of what you do and that. So putting prices on that. And so that's part of that ask. And then making the ask. I put demand, but I know sometimes they may see a little strong. So that's why I put ask. Asking for money in exchange for what you do. So that's actually the third one. And so some of the questions you can ask, I'll just repeat that, is, what's the budget for that? You can ask people, I'd love to explore how we can work together. If you have that in a pitch, or here's my services page if somebody was reaching out to you for something. And so you can say your process, the way I do this, that we can have a consultation to explore how we can work together, or here's my services page. And you can tell me which one you think is a fit and we can go from there, right? Or here's my link to schedule a consultation. Or you can ask them, where should I send my quote? So essentially, number three is ask. It's requiring compensation and setting that expectation. So you can literally start writing, and you don't need a website. You can go on Medium. You can go on LinkedIn. There's LinkedIn articles. You can go on a Facebook Live video and then share it widely. Share it with your network. Even let them know, hey, I'm open for business. And actually, you can catch my latest training on XYZ. And the way to monetize your content, I'm giving you a tip that I usually only give to my clients. But a way to monetize your content is to make an ask at the end of that content. Hey, if you enjoyed today's training and you would like to learn more, or if you found this valuable and you'd like to know how you can become a kick-ass mom, click here to schedule a consultation, or click here to attend our upcoming workshop. Click here, and you're sending them to enter your process for getting the sale, your enrollment process. Even if it's a click here to get on our email list. But usually the click here to schedule a consultation is the easiest one, because all that link needs to do is go to your calendar page, your scheduling system. And then you can have a sales call. That's one of the easiest things to do. You don't need to have complicated sales systems and funnels. And you can literally go to like Calendly.com, freeconferencecall.com, and send that link and have them schedule a time. So sharing your thought leadership. And if you want to monetize that, the tip is to put an invitation. The first day that one of our clients, Dr. Marvette, did this, she wrote her LinkedIn article. She had an invitation. Someone read it the same day. I think she got on the phone with him in about 1 or 2 days, and she secured a client just by putting that question on there. One of my clients is the one, she went from 0 to paid within 30 days. She was writing content. She was doing speaking. So one thing she started to do was, within the time that we were working together, she started to request payment for her speaking engagement. Particularly her content, she started to monetize it by inviting people to work with her, or someone came up to her at the end. It was like, I'd love to explore working with you. She didn't wait for them to follow up with her. She made the ask and followed up with them. Okay, great. Let me get your information. And then she emailed them, here's how you can get on the phone with me and we can talk about this. And then they had a sales conversation. And like I said, she secured, I think it was 3 to 4 clients within 30 days. And after 90 days of working, when I checked in with her, she was like, Quanisha, I'm on path to replace my full-time income. And she was based in London. But once again, sharing their value and then making that ask even at the end of their content. And that's number 2, is ask. Stand in your power. Don't wait for people to follow up with you. You ask them for their information. You follow up. You pitch to get on platforms so that you can increase your visibility, to go interview on a podcast, to go be a writer, contribute, right? So that your thought leadership is out there and you're leveraging someone else's platform to build your own. And then third one is ask. And that's particularly is ask to get paid. Set the expectation that by asking, what is the budget for that? Exploring how you can work together. And then, what do you send your quote? Send in the expectation that you only get paid for your presence, your expertise, and even for someone to pick your brain. Do not let people pick your brain for free. So those are the 3 ways that I wanted to cover on how you can elevate your value and visibility in 30 days. What do you all think about that? I'd love to hear your takeaways. And while you're writing that, one thing I want to share, and I meant to share this in the beginning, is that one of the key things you need to have to get paid, a key requirement, is an offer. You want to have, what are people paying for? They need to pay for a solution. A business is there to solve problems. And sometimes we get this backwards, or we can be egocentric because we're like, I want to get paid for my writing. Where writing is great, but a business needs to be solving a problem. So it's like, what is your writing helping people to do? So you may say, okay, part of me helping women to find their purpose is that I take them through a series of writing exercises to get clear on who they are and what they want. So that process is your offer. And if you want to get paid well for what you do at a high level, you need to have a comprehensive solution. You want to design a premium offer. So what I told you about our client, one thing that she did is that we organized her information into a premium offer, so that when people started seeking her out, she was sharing her value. And when people were exploring to work with her, and also people in her network was saying, hey, I need support with this. And she was like, I can help you with that bar exam prep. That's how she got her first $1,000 during the coronavirus. That's how she got the next $1,500 client. That's how she got the next $2,000 client. And she made $4,500 in 3 weeks. She's still generating revenue from what, once again, that thought leadership that she organized into a premium offer. So I want to invite you, if you are ready to take that next step of, value and visibility is great. We are actually having a workshop that started yesterday, but I extended the deadline for today because I was doing the video a little later, where you can come join us in our Design Your Premium Offer workshop, where essentially I'm going to help you develop. I'm going to help you to upscale as well as sell a premium offer. And we're going to do this within a week. It's a 1-week intensive. So it's design a premium offer. And we're going to do this over about a 1-week period and intensive. So if you're struggling to get paid well for what you do, then it's time to design an offer that your ideal clients will love, right? A signature service. You're ready to upscale your business and sell high ticket offers that attract high-end client. And this is really about taking your business to the next level. And I created this when you were mine. Because here's the thing, you could be highly visible. You could be elevating your value by sharing all this thought leadership, but you have to have something to offer. This is why I tell people, don't get bamboozled by all these Instagram stars and influencers, because it doesn't mean that they're necessarily making money. Someone that I know, like on her video, she shared how she knew someone that had almost like 100K followers, and that person couldn't sell a $7 t-shirt when she went to launch a t-shirt. So one, their followers doesn't mean those followers are buyers, and it doesn't mean they're getting paid for it. So this is really about not only increasing your value and visibility, but like I said, asking to get paid. And to ask, you need to have a solution. You need to know what you would be offering those folks. So one, there's pre-work to help you get clarity on that problem that you're solving for whom, so you can focus on this ideal client, communicate to attract and connect deeply with high-end buyers. And then even how to claim and showcase your own expertise. So even if me talking about expertise, you still kind of felt like, right? I take you through a process so that you can start actually 7 ways to actually start to identify your expertise. So that's the pre-work that's available immediately when you enroll. And then tomorrow, as of this date, Thursday, we will be teaching Module 1 live, or I will be teaching Module 1 live on how to develop your premium offer. So that builds on the masterclass. And I'm going to walk you through a process to uncover the signature process that you would be selling and create it into that comprehensive solution, how to organize it so it makes sense for when you're working with someone, and then how to upscale it, like developing a compelling title, branding it, and you'll get my naming process, and some examples on how to do that. And then we're going to upscale your offer so that you actually make this into a package. Some of you are trading dollars for hours, and you're like, oh, someone comes for one session, and you know that's not really going to transform them and solve it, but you're trading those dollars for hours in the sense of like, oh, you'll get this one consultation, I get $100, versus actually packaging what you know into a premium offer. So someone's paying for your whole transformation. And that is not just about you getting paid, it's also about how you're going to best serve them. And then I teach you how to package it so it's irresistible, how to sweeten the deal and make it make sense where someone's just like, that's exactly what I need and I'm ready to invest in it. And then the last thing is how to sell it. So it's not just like, oh, here's a premium offer that you have and it's going to just sit on your mantle, your digital mantle. And you just look at it like, oh, that's nice. I have this offer, but how do you actually sell it after that? And this doesn't have to be a long process. Within 30 days, you can have a client or more than one client even, for your premium offer. So I'm going to teach you this part of sharing, like how do you create content that captivates and converts? And I kind of gave you that tip today on how you monetize it. One tip, not the tip, but one tip. And I'm going to teach you my simple sales strategy for how to launch your offer. And this is not something that just works when you're launching it. This is the process that you can do over and over again to continue to attract clients for your business. And then how to incentivize people to buy so that they buy now. And I'd be like, okay, I think about it. It's like, no, how to get them to buy now without feeling sleazy or salesy. And then you get these amazing bonuses where you actually get my premium enrollment bundle. So if you've been wondering like, well, how do I actually make sure I have buyers on the phone and not just people who are freebie seekers or just want to pick my brain? I'm going to share my application that helps me to screen people. You're going to get my contracts. And some people are like, well, I don't know how to make sure people fulfill their payments or their payment plan. And it sets the tone for the relationship. So I'm going to share the contract that I've been using for the last 5 years. And I think I've only had one person ever who didn't fulfill a contract. And that was a 10K contract and she paid half of it, but then like this big financial thing happened. So literally one in however, I don't know, about 100 plus private clients that I've had where someone didn't fulfill their agreements. I always keep my fingers crossed. So my agreement works. It works really well. And then the welcome. So how do you actually onboard someone to also set the expectation for the relationship and help them get started? And I'm going to share a little secret. This is actually how you reduce people asking for refunds or buyer's remorse when you set them off in the correct way. So you're going to get that. And then lifetime access. So although I said we're teaching this live for a week, you're going to have the recordings and all these materials and access to them forever, as long as they're on the internet, our course and our private platform, that you can continue to reference this. Once again, even the bundle and all these other things, so you have it. And I won't go completely into this. I did put the link here in the comments and I'll put it in the video description when we're done. And you can go over some of the benefits. So when you get live access to me for this week, a step-by-step process, my own private assessment while we're doing this live. This is something that people have paid me to do over the last 5 years. Even when I was a business coach for another community, people came to me to help them make their offer. That was my unique genius. Even in this season, like in about 8 weeks, I generated 20K from a relaunch of an offer I did in the season of coronavirus, 20K in sale. And it's going on to make more from that just in the spring. So I'm really good at making comprehensive offers, not just for myself, but for my clients. So all the clients that I named today during this training, I've helped them all to create their premium offers and learn how to sell it and package it so they get a high level of revenue. Even one of our clients, Erica Totten, earlier in the year, I took a screenshot. She closed 2 contracts for 30K at the beginning of the coronavirus for her consulting work that she does. So even at that higher level 4 or 5 figure contracts, I even told you about Dr. June, who got a 25K contract just by helping them to create their premium offer. And when you join this, we have some really great women. So we're doing this within community. You're going to be joining our Black Women CEO Mastermind members, as well as other women who have invested to just come do this workshop. And then once again, simple and stress-free. I'm all about simple and easy. And simple doesn't mean less than. Easy doesn't mean it doesn't take work. It does. But it's really a simple process. It doesn't require launch pages and all these other things that you hear about, like 50-step funnels. Even a website doesn't require a website to do this. So, and like I said, you're going to get all these things. We actually started yesterday with the virtual coaching, and that's where we're just focusing on the pre-work. So the live training is tomorrow. So I extended enrollment because it closed yesterday. But if you go to the link, you can go ahead and enroll. And it's really accessible, everyone. It's $500 paid in full. That's the investment. Or you can do the easy pay where you pay $325 today to get started. And then you have 30 days to make the rest of it. So that is the investment. And just to put this into context, when people do this work with me one-on-one, it's a $2,000 investment. So you're really getting a deal for everything that I'm getting. So it's just a fraction of that cost. Jamie said, on your digital mantle, collecting digital dust. So we're really excited. And when you join, I celebrate you in our group. So I want to invite you to do that, where if you benefited from this and you want to get deeply into the how-to of it so that you can actually start to get paid, even in this pandemic season, this unprecedented time, go ahead and get the knowledge that you need from that. The consistency helps you to build your confidence. And I would even say coaching, right? Helping, you can self-coach. That's definitely possible. Reminding yourself of who you are. But then also having a coach is something that also helps you to increase your confidence, because often we can have blinders. We don't see sometimes our strengths and our genius. And it's helpful to have someone else that's external to us who can reflect back who we are. I often say Black women pay me very well to help them to remember who they are in that sense. So, and even I have a coach. I have coaches. I have consultants. So sometimes we can have blinders on. And so that's where investing in a coaching program, even if it's, like I said, like the workshop where you're going to get coaching, even if it's like short bursts of things like that. So it doesn't always have to be paying $5,000, $10,000 to do a deep coaching program or a mastermind, sometimes having courses that are actually programs and intensive where you have access to the person who's there to give you coaching and so into you can help you to grow your confidence around what you do. So I would love it. And I know Ronaldo is actually in our workshop, but anyone else, if you want someone to support you, and we got your back. And in community is a protective factor for Black women. So not only am I there to sow into you, there's other Black women who are like-minded and who are also invested in one another and your growth, who can also give you your kudos, right? Or even ask you questions, right? To help you to stand in your confidence, to help you get clarity, to help you to remember who you are as well. All right. Well, have a great rest of the day or evening whenever you're watching this. And once again, our motto is power is the ability to create your reality. So go forth and be powerful, sister. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Oh, girl, the episode stopped, but the party is not over. I want you to go ahead and subscribe, like, and rate this show. Leave us a comment sharing your takeaways. And when you're done with that, come on over to blackwomanceo.com, join our movement. And when you do that, you'll get the special invitation to join us in our community. Well, I will love to put a face to that name, girl. So this is Quanisha signing off, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace and love.